Hello, everyone. My name is Lacey. This is Sekhmet, and you are watching Reptiles. All right, so we have Sekhmet here, who is being a very active girly today. Oh, there she goes, back in the shirt like she likes. And I would like to tell you a fun story and then talk about how we resolved this story. So, last week, little shirt lady here, we were hanging out. I put her back in her house, and I went to sleep. Good day, right? Well, the next morning, I come out, I'm on the phone with my mom, and I'm chatting, and I notice that the door here is open. Just a smidge, like a little tiny bit. And I'm like, that's odd, strange, even. So I'm like, well, let me just make sure she's in there, right? So I dig through and I take out all her little enrichment things, all her fake plants and her stuff. She's not in there. Little Sekhmet here had disappeared from an enclosure that is like 4 feet from the floor. She is not a big snake, friends. She is a dainty little lady who is kind of wrapped around my arm and kind of in my shirt now. But needless to say, I was in a panic. I was like, oh God, what do I do? What do I do? I had never had a snake get out before. And I'd always heard people say that it's not if it happens, it's when it happens, because snakes are escape artists. And I found her, and the door being open was not something she did. It was me not closing her door all the way when I put her in and went to bed. So, what do you do if your snake gets out? What is step number one? Step number one is firstly noticing that, hey, your snake's not there. The sooner you realize your snake is out, the better. I check my snakes every morning when I wake up, when I get home from work, and before I go to bed. I just like to check them out and make sure they're okay. Plus, they're fun to look at. And looking for Sekhmet is like playing a game of I Spy, because she hides under her substrate, and I don't see her that much anyway. So step number one, ensure that they're not hiding in their enclosure if there's someone like Sekhmet who likes to hide under her substrate. Step number two, think like a snake. I had always in stories I had always heard, when your snake gets out, check along the walls, because the snake will try to stay along the wall as a sense of safety rather than just striking out into the open. And this, when John Cena, when she comes out, and she comes, when she chooses to come out, if I let her out, then that is the first thing she does, is she will find a wall or a vertical surface, and she will just stick to that while she is exploring initially before venturing out into the open areas. So I thought maybe Sekhmet doing the same thing. So I started at her enclosure. I checked behind her and Lieutenant Dan's enclosures. I checked behind John Cena's enclosure. I went along the wall, behind my nightstand with the litter box in it, behind my bookshelf, and behind this camera, I have a shelf that kind of goes along the floor underneath my TV. And I'm looking behind that, and I have a pillow stuffed between that shelf and my other bookshelf, so that John Cena doesn't get back there when she's out and knock over my bookshelf and mess my stuff up. And poking her little head out from underneath this pillow is our girl Sekhmet, hanging out, just having a great time, just tongue flicking and being great. I pick her up, and my first concern is she fell from, she probably stuck her little head out, was exploring, and then just went too far, couldn't grip anything, and just whoop, straight down 4 feet. And she's a little lady, and snakes have very delicate ribs. So I wanted to make sure she was all right. So I let her kind of run through my fingers. I kind of squeezed and felt very gently, just checking to feel and make sure her ribs were all okay, that her spine was okay, that she was moving all right. And physically, she was fantastic. She's perfectly fine. She's doing great. The other concern I had was we've finally started having some warmer weather. So that night, I had opened my door. I have a balcony over here. I had opened the door and left the screen shut to let in some fresh air. Now, overnight, that fresh air gets a little cool because it's night and that's how it works. And that's not really a big concern for me because the snakes are in their nice, warm, heated enclosures. So when I picked her up, when I found her, she was very cold. She was pretty chilly. She was still moving real good, but she was kind of cool. She was cool to the touch, and I don't think I'd ever let her, she'd never gotten that cold before in my care. And so before putting her back in her enclosure, I held her, I handled her, had her in my hands, made sure she warmed up slowly so I didn't like shock her or anything. And once she was nice and warm, back into her enclosure she went. And she's been fantastic ever since. She's been a delight. She's just been her normal self. She ate a rat the other day. She's good. But I thought, well, I'm like, man, it's a little embarrassing because it's 100% my fault because I didn't shut the enclosure all the way. And I figure, I'm like, well, maybe I should mention this to y'all because everyone's had a snake get out. My friend Sonia, she's got house snakes, and one of her house snakes is a little escape artist. And I thought, I'm like, man, maybe I should make a video about that, about like what to do if your snake gets out. So I was very fortunate, and I found my smallest snake, my daintiest girl, I found her right away. Fortunately, she's not much of a climber in the best of circumstances because she is a chonky noodle. She's just a thick snakykins. And I was very fortunate. So she's not much of a climber. I don't have to look up when I'm looking for her. There's a limited number of places she could be. And I'm also very fortunate that my cats, when I get the snakes, I introduce them to the cats in a very controlled way. I do not let the cats approach the snakes unattended. I do not let the cats around the snakes unattended. But the cats don't care. They have zero concern for the snakes. They're just like, whatever, man. So she was good. The cats left her alone. Plus, they like to sleep on my face all night. So she was good. She was protected from the cats. But the first step when your snake gets out is that. Make sure snake is not actually hiding in the enclosure somewhere that they didn't get behind a backdrop. If you have a backdrop, they're 100% not in there, right? And then you go along the walls, check along the walls everywhere. And you do this methodically. You check behind every little thing. You move anything that snake could potentially get behind. And even if you think, well, it's a little tight, I don't think they would get back there, check. Because snakes, they are real good at getting into tiny, snug little places. So check all those places. Check underneath things. My biggest fear was that she had gotten into the couch. This couch does have mechanics. It has moving parts, which I would love to get a new couch that has absolutely no moving parts. So that is not a fear that has been unlocked. I would like to get rid of that one day. Furniture's expensive. So that's first step. Check along all the walls. If you do not find your snake there, you go in. You can check underneath furniture. You can check underneath appliances. Check containers, boxes, storage. Check anywhere that could in any way contain a noodle. If you and Sandboa, so it was easy. She's gonna be on the floor because she's not big enough or strong enough to get up into things. Let's say you have a boa or a super dwarf retic, a bull snake, a corn snake, anything that's, has a little bit more ability to climb, a ball python. Lieutenant Dan is a climber. He loves to explore. He's got his little ribs up here. He likes to climb. If you have a snake that likes to climb or has a lot better of ability to climb than a sand boa, then you're going to want to start looking up. Once you've checked all the ground, start looking up. Check higher shelves. I heard a story once of someone whose corn snake got on top of their curtains And that's where they found their corn snake, was on top of their curtains. That's impressive. And if you absolutely cannot find the snake after searching all of your furniture, the floor, the walls, the ceiling, your closet, everywhere, then you can do, I heard, gosh, I can't remember. I feel like I heard this from Bob, but I'm Bledsoe, but I'm not 100%. You can do something with flour. You can take flour, make like a line of flour and put it a full line across like doorways, openings, open spaces, just to see if the snake crosses that line of flour. You can see what direction the snake went. And you're checking these flour lines fairly often. And you can, if you see the track of the snake going through, you know what direction they went. You kind of narrow down that area. Snake, and the nice thing is, try not to freak out. Snakes can go a fairly long period without food. That doesn't mean starve your snakes or anything, but if they're out, they're not gonna die right away if they don't eat for a week. You'll find them. You'll find them eventually. They'll get there. Just make sure you're keeping an eye on everything, any opening to the outside especially, to make sure that they don't get outside your home. Because once they're outside your home, all bets are off, right? But the key thing is stopping your snakes from getting out in the first place. So don't be like me. Don't forget to close your enclosure all the way. Make sure everything is fully closed. If you have locks, make sure you do your locks. Close everything, make sure everything is locked and secure, or just closed all the way to keep our friends from getting out. But that is all for today, friends. I hope you learned from my story of someone escaping. Prevent your own snakes from getting out, because forewarned is forearmed. And never stop learning, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. See ya.